Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of the most important tournaments of this World Chess Championship cycle. It is the FIDE World Cup 2025, and we're starting it off with a really beautiful game. It's Clash Japan versus United Arab Emirates, and for Japan we have Tran 2, and for the United Arab Emirates we have Salem. Salem, we featured him on the channel many times. This is the first time we are featuring Chan. Originally, he represented Vietnam, but he transferred federations in 2020. Now he represents Japan, and I believe he's the highest rated Japanese chess player. But yeah, that all pales in comparison compared to this game, as it's a really beautiful one. And since this is the first game we're showing, we could, I could also just show you this. This is from chess.com. They made a nice graphic saying 206 players, 3 seats for the candidates tournament. It's going to take place from October 30th. That was yesterday, but okay, you have the opening ceremony and everything, but today was the first round, and it will last until November 27th. And yeah, 3 more players will get their invitations for the FIDE Candidates Tournament if they do really well here in the FIDE World Cup. So for the moment, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have 3 candidates already. Fabiano Caruana, Anish Giri, and Matthias Bluebaum, and we are waiting for 5 more. Chances are we already know the next 2. Maybe there's a chance it changes, so I'm not gonna say too much. But we are gonna get 3 from the World Cup. So let's check it out. Chan with the white pieces opens with pawn to e4. And okay, we do have some theory. We have pawn to c5 and knight to f3. And also, the event is taking place in Talegaon, Goa, in India, and it's 27 years passed since the last time the World Cup was held in India. Okay, knight f3, we have pawn to d6 and pawn to d4. Okay, the open Sicilian, we have c captures on d4. Knight captures, we have knight to f6 and knight to c3. Pretty standard stuff. Pawn to a6, going for the Najdorf variation, and pawn to h3. I always say that here you can play any move with white, and it is a very well-known line that has some, 50 moves worth of theory. So you can play anything. I like to say one of my favorites is Rook G1, and it's like the 12th most popular continuation, but even top grandmasters play it sometimes. But h3, it's the Adams attack, also prepares pawn to g4, like this Rook to g1 move that I like to play, and the idea is g4, g5. That's pretty much it. We have pawn to e6, pawn to g4, bishop to e7, and pawn to g5. Okay, sometimes players with the black pieces allow this advancement of the g-pawn. Sometimes they prevent it. Knight f to d7, and here we have bishop to g2. Following one very, very top-level game that was played in 2021 between Alireza Firuza and Peter Svidler. I think it was a rapid game. It was that Asian Money tournament. I believe it was a rapid event, but I could be wrong. And Alireza won that game very nicely. And we kind of follow in the footsteps of that game. Knight to c6, we have pawn to h4, castles kingside, and pawn to b3. But in that game, Svidler played queen to b6. Here we have rook to e8, and it is now, as of move 11, that we have a completely new game. Okay, bishop to b2 makes sense. You want to attack the black king. We have bishop to f8, will be used as a defender, and also now the rook is very useful on the e-file. Queen to d2, preparing to castle queenside, and we have a trade. Knight captures, queen captures, and pawn to b5. So black conveniently waited for white to spend the tempo, developing the white queen, and only then traded on d4. So white has to play twice with the queen, otherwise it would only help white develop. We have castles queenside, bishop to b7, and king to b1. Always a useful prophylactic move. We have rook to c8, so all pretty standard Sicilian moves, and Najdorfian, if you will. Pawn to f4, we have queen to b6, offering a queen trade. And now you could trade, you could also play something else, both is fine. Here, Chan decides to leave the queens on the board. Plays queen to d2 and knight to c5. Okay, so we have castles on opposite sides of the board. Obviously, it's going to be a race. We have pawn to f5 and no time to deal with this. Pawn to b4. You have to start an attack of your own. Knight to a4, knight captures, b captures, and now bishop to c6. Going after the a4 pawn. Also interesting would be just to trade everything off the board. Captures, captures, and captures, and now queen c6. You go after the a-pawn, but also you offer a queen trade, so the attack is pretty much over, and, you just play chess. But okay, what was played in the game is also very nice. We have bishop to c6, pawn to g6, not h5 and then pawn to g6, g6 right away to ensure the attack happens just a little bit faster. We have f captures on g6, f captures, and now bishop captures on a4, followed by rook to c1. You have to add a defender as that bishop and rook are attacking it. That the rooks are getting doubled up on the c file, and could be very interesting. We have h captures on g6, and this move is not the most precise way to defend, but this is not an easy position to handle. And you can see the situation, or rather, you would be able to see if I didn't disable it, but just give me a few seconds. Clocks might be relevant to this game. There we go. All right. So we have the clock times. You can see that Tran has 8.5 minutes on the clock. And now look at this. Pawn to h5 plays the absolute best move. The only move that allows white to play for the win. G captures on h5, and now rook captures on h5. This is a suboptimal solution. The best possible move is bishop to f3. But in a crazy position like this, where everything is hanging and you don't know what to play, black, even black looks like he could be breaking through at any moment. But the idea is bishop f3, bishop h5, you capture, or black does something, but you cannot really stop white, and then you put a bishop on g6, and then your position is just winning. There are also all sorts of ideas like sacrificing the rook and then queen h2. So yeah, it would be completely winning. So here, after this g captures on h5, we have rook captures on h5, and now rook to c3, hoping that white captures. If white doesn't capture, then at least okay, the bishop is out of the game. But if you capture, then it's game over. Just b captures on c3, queen b2, checkmate. So after a rook to c3, we have queen to g5. The idea being something like rook to h4, then maybe you go queen to h5, and it would all be much, much better with the bishop on g6. But okay, this is also not bad. Queen to e3, again, asking for a queen trade, and now not trading, but rather queen to h4. You could also trade here with the bishop captures on c3, but queen to h4 was played going after the attack, but you're not the one attacking here anymore. So feel free to pause the video, and what do you play here? Black to play. Only one move. Yes, this is the start of a devastating attack. Bishop captures on c2. And now the problem is, if you capture with the rook, then look at this. Rook captures, king captures, queen to e2 check, and it doesn't matter where the black king goes. If king b1, then queen d3 check, and after king a1, queen to d1 check, and after bishop c1, queen captures on c1 is checkmate. So after bishop captures on c2, we have king to a1 right away, saying, okay, now the attack is over, we're just going for rook to h8, but now bishop to d3. Okay, threatening to capture on c1, rook to e1, attacking the queen, and now ignoring white completely. Rook e to c8, doubling up, and the queen cannot be captured. If the queen is captured, then rook c1 check, bishop captures, rook captures with check, king b2, but rook to b1 will be checkmate. Compliments of the pawn on b4. So after rook to e to c8, we have rook to h8 check, starting an attack against the black king. But after king f7, there's really there really aren't any useful checks. You give one check, king e7, and that's it. So here we have bishop captures on c3, but just rook captures. Again, the queen cannot be captured. It's the exact same checkmate. So here we have queen to h5 check, king to e7, and now queen to h4 check. King to d7, and now queen to h1. You have to stop that rook to c1 because it is happening. But this is one of the nicer things in chess, I would say, because when you can play the exact move that your opponent tried to prevent, then you know that the game is beautiful. And the game ends with rook to c1. This is what Tran played, or rather, this is what Saleh played, and it was in this position that Tran resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Once the rook is captured, you will simply play queen to d4 with check, and after you block with the rook, this is your only move. Queen captures on c3 will be checkmate. So it was a pretty crazy game. Tran definitely had a chance. He opened up Salem on the king side, but that's the beauty of games where the kings are castled on opposite sides of the board. Yes, you can have an advantage, but it can also mean absolutely nothing. If you miss one tempo, your opponent will just crush you like Salem did here. And yeah, it's easy. You have so many sacrifices, so many tactics, little time on the clock. All of a sudden, queen sacrifices become possible. It happens, and I think this is a beautiful game and a wonderful way to start the FIDE World Cup. That will decide not one, not two, but three challengers for the FIDE Candidates Tournament. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Very much looking forward to covering this event extensively, even though, as you can hear, I'm a little bit under the weather. I hope it improves tomorrow and that we can cover some serious games. Today we had sort of the lower pairings, and tomorrow we get the 2650 guys and above. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Francesco Corradi, Uzi Shalev, Francisco Santana, Deepak Gangadaran, and Eddie Sphere for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.